Not really, but it is. Go ahead. Oh, you can't go ahead. You can't get the TV on. Aha.
Thanks, Wes. So our eventual goal is for an actual ordinance to go on an agenda for votes. And so I'm going to try to work through and put some of these things into the language of the ordinance. And I've got this first one, and you'll see, and the purpose is that, you know, our goal is to regulate the rental of dwelling units in general. Residential units is kind of sometimes confuses folks because I have a dwelling unit in the commercial district. That's not a residential unit, so I suggested that clarification. And then you'll see I suggested for your consideration, council's choice, to strike number 5. In my opinion, it's redundant to number 1. And when we start talking about the residential character of the residential districts, that's language that's very adjacent to the purpose of the zoning ordinance. And that is one of the things that folks have had questions about, to clearly distinguish that this is a business license ordinance, not a zoning ordinance. I don't think this is 100% necessary to make this change. If you leave it, there's no harm. But in my opinion, we distance ourselves from a zoning ordinance by striking number 5 and leaving protecting the integrity of the neighborhoods and the quality of life as the purpose.
I think you got it.
So here's this slide kind of represents a lot of the things we've talked about. Good standing would really incorporate 2 of the things: the 30-day grace period for annual renewals and the minimum of 14 nights, now 28 nights. So items B and C of good standing would be where we kind of put those conversations into the ordinance. I know on my list I had marked off the extra 30 days to apply for your renewal, but I feel like there may be some more discussion about that. We could just leave it, the license is not expired, a license is deemed expired on the final day of the business license year, or give that 30-day extension. So I would like to just make sure I understand kind of your guys' feelings on whether or not there should be a 30-day grace period for annual renewals. Because this is where we would say.
I think any kind of grace period for renewals that we do, there needs to be a fine structure at certain levels. So if we do a 30-day, there's a 15-day and a 30. If we do, 45 days, every 15 days, there's a different fine amount. Just because it incentivizes people that get it done on time, and it does give a grace period, but they also have to pay a penalty for that grace period. That is standard with any other late fee or anything like that. So I definitely think we should have a grace period, and we should also put a fine structure on it.
I kind of disagree with that. I think instead of allowing people to stretch it out farther, we need to shorten the grace period, because the 30 days, if you have to renew it 30 days, and then that's at May 1st, and then come June 1st, you have to apply for
You have to have your rental registration turned in by May 31st.
May 31st, and then June 1st is another deadline. And then, so if we give 30 days, people would assume we get 30 days on that, then really we haven't tidied things up until July 1st, whereas if we just said you get 3 business days, put your stuff in, you get 3 business days to do it, everybody knows about it, we advertise it.
If that's all you want to do, then I insist. I would hope we insist that the city send out some sort of reminder to everybody then, because I get them for something that serious. Because anything else that doesn't get a reminder, I have to remember, there is a grace period and you just pay a fine.
We don't have time to
for
send out a reminder if it's only 3 days.
Well, but you need to tell them renewals are coming up, something that says this is your renewal date. We get 3 months ahead of time a statement of economic interest. You know what I mean? And there's no grace period for that.
You can send out a notice saying your license is due March the 1st, but if you don't do it on by March the 1st, if you only say 3 days, and I don't care if you have no grace period, you don't have time to send out another notice.
No, I'm
as
not saying
fast
send out
as-
another notice. I'm saying if we're not gonna do a grace period, then we should damn sure cover our bases as a city and send out a reminder notice. Somebody say, well, I didn't know. No, we sent everybody a letter at this date. You knew. If you're not gonna have a grace period, at least notify
We just
everybody.
send you a bill saying to remind you, like they do.
That's why we got some of the
Charleston.
hardships now that come through, because the patriarch took care of all the billing and all that stuff. He died. Matriarch had no idea what was going on, didn't know about it. I mean, that's how you set yourself up for other things as well.
So what would it do for a billing notice every year to say, you have a license, you have to renew it by blah, blah, blah?
We have the emails of every registered agent for every property that's registered. We can send mass emails, just from experience, we send emails.
I'm talking about a hard copy.
We can do it.
Just look and see what it would take to do that,
So
once.
if it's not 30 or 3 days, is anyone into 14?
I think if we send out something 60 days ahead of time that says, hey, it's due, you gotta have a hard date, otherwise we're gonna have what we're having now. So I missed it by a day, I need a hardship, you know. There has to be some kind of finite.
One thing we
time.
already do is we put an insert in everyone's property tax bill saying if you rent your property, you owe these taxes. We could just slap the business, I think the business license due date is on that annual notice. I'll check to confirm. But we do already include a notice in everyone's property tax bill. So that would be one opportunity we could do it for something we already do.
Right.
Property tax
Just
bills go out.
some sort of notice, because I just feel that if we don't send out a notice saying that your bill's due and somebody misses it, they're gonna come up with other reasons, and we should, any other business license, whatever, you do have a grace period, you just pay a penalty. You know, if we're not gonna do it, I'm fine with that, but we need to make sure we notify everyone, just
So-
cover our own bases.
So are we to no grace period and a notice?
I'm okay
Business
with grace
days.
period. 30 days is fine.
I agree, I'm okay with a grace period.
Shows compassion.
Yeah, but what happens to the guy that walks in 31 days down the
Yeah.
road?
I'm
He's
no.
out of the 30 days.
Where's your compassion? You only
get
missed
30
it,
days
you only
for
missed it by
that.
one
You
day,
had a
where's your
30-day
compassion? Nah.
Your compassion is ended.
So we'll.
So what, wait a minute, let's get a little, so how many days do you want to be compassionate? Bill says 3.
Wow.
Hey,
Is that how we're couching it?
I'll go along with your 3, how about that? I'll give you 3.
I see myself as a very compassionate guy.
3 days, you still need to send out a notice. If it's not a 30-day grace period, you need to send a notice out. So we're sending a notice out, then go.
I agree with the
that's fine.
notices, you're right.
I think,
You
yeah.
gotta notify people of that, then we can do a 3, that's fine, because you do have to have a hard
Take 30
date.
days to send a notice out.
You gotta have a hard
Respond
date.
to it.
If you're sending a notice out 60 days ahead of time,
We ain't gonna
that's perfect.
respond.
Yeah, that's fine.
Somebody's always gonna get caught short, and then you,
And we have court for that.
So I hear basically no grace period.
So minimal grace period and a notification letter.
All right, we'll.
I would have said 30 and I would compromise at 14.
All right. What we'll do is we'll put 30 days and let you guys,
Let's get a
motion-
consensus
motion and
here.
then-
Yes.
Wait a minute, let's get a consensus, we ain't voting, but I like 3, Bill likes 3.
I'll take 14.
I'll go with Billy at 14.
I'll go 3.
And welcome to the hot seat.
Yeah, are we doing a notification letter regardless
Yes.
of 3 or 14?
Yes.
Then I'll say 14, because that's a 2-week period.
Eddie, what do you say?
So it's a tie, nobody wins.
All right. So we'll draft it with 14, and with the note, you know, it can always be amended. And another suggestion here that I got after I sent this out, I left it as after the final day of the previous business license year, just to account for if those dates ever change. But when this comes back to you in the draft form, we'll probably actually have the date, the actual date.
Just intact now.
And then, C, this was drafted, last week, so I changed 14 to 28. So good standing here is where we capture the grace period and the minimum rentals. Investment short-term rental licenses, just clarifying that ISTR is allowed dwelling unit for more than 72 nights. We will add the hardship and heirs for ISTRs. LSTRs will go away. OSTRs will remain, and those will just be available as they are now, or for the partial 6%ers. Original short-term rental license, this is just for the rental act that requires folks to honor licenses. And one thing, just to clarify for everyone, if you buy a house that has rentals on the books and you rent it for 70 days, because that's the only rentals that were on the books, and you want to have an OSTR, you only get 2 more rental days. You can't use your provisional short-term rentals to rent 90 days for sale-related rentals and then get an additional 72 under an OSTR. Transfer of property.
Wait a minute,
Sir.
what you just said, we probably need to put in words,
All right.
just so it's clear. When everybody reads it, that's perfectly clear.
All right.
Days rented during PSTR shall be counted towards 72 count of any
OST.
All
OSTR.
right,
Yeah.
we'll add that. And transfer of property, we're still proposing to use assessable transfer of interest in real estate is what would trigger your loss of an ISTR. There are some things that are accessible transfers of real estate that only apply to 4% properties. So it wouldn't. We're still using the state's definition, and I've sent that to Joe very late this afternoon, too late for this meeting.
Got halfway through.
Yeah, so Joe is going through those one more time just to make sure we aren't inadvertently creating or closing any things that folks would need to take advantage of. Next up, Wes. This is just making this section 11702, adding the new rental license name. So limited short-term rental licenses, all those references will go away. OSTR will come back. But just clarifying that no license types are transferable at all. And I've got the wait list highlighted there. Once we settle on a wait list, we may codify it. I mean, that's where it'll go, but we're not ready for that now. So next up, Wes. Yeah. This is just adding some language to talk again about good standing. It's got that same, the same 30 days and final day of the previous license year, so I will rework that. But that's just reiterating that if you don't timely make application for renewal, you will lose your license. And now we will define timely renewal and good standing. And then the second one there, A1, that's trying to capture our discussions around demolishing a licensed unit. Previously, we talked about how much demolition counts before you lose the license, and now we've moved away from that, and we're saying, if you have a licensed house and you rebuild a house of the same size with the same number of bedrooms, that can be licensed again. If you build a bigger house or more bedrooms, you don't automatically get a license for it, you get on our wait list. This goes back to advertising the number of bedrooms. Right now, we prevent people from advertising too many occupancies, but we don't require them to match the number of bedrooms advertised to the rental registration, which is matched to the county records. So this would just codify that if your county records say you have 3 bedrooms, that's all we'll allow you to put on your rental registration, and that's all we'll allow you to advertise for rent in conjunction with the maximum occupancy. And I think that's, is that the last one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's the last batch of what I'm considering close to final amendment language that will be up for a vote.
Okay, so when can you have this written in final? Can you do it by the 6th of February?
I can, but I will be in, I don't have my phone, I will be in Costa Rica from the 3rd to the 12th. So Friday the 2nd will be my last work day.
Can you have it done by the 2nd?
I can try really hard. I think so.
I won't be here.
Well, two of us won't be here on the sixth.
Three of us.
Three of us won't be here on the sixth.
I think Mr. Pope needs to be here.
It'll be, you'll see the first official, well, you can get them the notice to read, but the first time we talk about the official ordinance will be on the 13th.
So,
And we'll just have to schedule another meeting after the 13th for second reading.
Yep.
and we'll have the work session before the 13th, to finalize
So,
things.
so in February right now, let's talk about, the 13th is the meeting night, and the 20th being the special meeting, second meeting for the second vote. That's all that's on the agenda.
7 p.m.
That works for me.
This is the 20th, yeah.
And on the 13th, maybe we start at 5 or 4:30.
What?
I don't think we need to. You just, the only thing on the work session will be this ordinance, and that's it. I don't think you need it. I think it's pretty well beat
I think
out.
it's pretty well done.
All right.
So the
six-
20th, everybody okay with 7 p.m.?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. There's always one.
There's always one.
5 p.m.,
This is one.
6 p.m.?
Can we do earlier?
I can't.
Like 3, 4?
Any game you guys scheduled?
Can you do 5?
I can do 5.
Can you do 5, William?
I can do 5.
4 would work better.
Well, we got one such can't do 4.
Okay,
5.
let's do 5. I'll get divorced.
I'll write you a note. Please excuse Billy.
Does that have to be a doctor's note?
That's my book back, Carter. Please excuse Billy.
A doctor appointment.
The only thing, Mr. Pope, is number H. Why do we have to say more bedrooms? Can't we say incorrect count in the sense of,
Well, we wouldn't want to stop
Right
from
here.
advertising fewer bedrooms.
well, like I said, if,
Well, 4 bedrooms is the incorrect count. So that's why he said more.
Yeah, that's why.
If you got 3, you want to advertise 1, that's up to you.
I just think incorrect is incorrect. If you advertise something that's not accurate, it's a problem.
So we don't have anything else except for tomorrow until the 13th.
And
Well, tomorrow's gonna be
but
Or strategic planning, but that's different.
on the 13th, Mayor, 6 o'clock session?
that's fine.
6 o'clock.
You sure are nervous about
Well,
this work session.
Okay, 6 o'clock,
On the 13th.
On the
It'll
13th.
come out on the agenda.
Tuesday,
But nothing else on the work session.
Nothing between now and then, thank God.
and then 20, 5 p.m.
All right, as soon as I incorporate all this into an ordinance draft, I'll get it to Joe for his review. Can't circulate it to the group, but once it's drafted, I'll run it through Joe and we'll get it public as soon as possible, so that's to digest it.
Have a great vacation.
Have fun in Costa, man. A couple buddies of mine just got back.
Right. I'm scheduled in at midnight on the 12th. Hope the plane doesn't get delayed.
If they do, just go ahead and start filling out your application for new employment somewhere else.
I'll zoom in.
Uh-oh, let's go make it on 13th, you're out. My buddy keeps saying, we gotta go with them just because they're debauchers.
No, June it is here.
Good thing, it's close, it's close, so close to the equator, like, I'm not gonna see kids. It's beautiful, just because it's right in the equator, it's like the same temperature day and night, and the resort's all open air, because everything's the same weather every day, it's amazing.
Nice
You know,
red
it's close,
shirt.
it's great.
I like the red. Reminds me of the campaign color.
All right, good stuff today. Pretty close. think we're getting close to a fair way that everybody, for the most part, has agreed to a little bit of, we've all given up a little bit, but we're managing through it in a positive direction. And that's the most important thing. We're not killing each other yet over little things. I've been asking me, so what do you do for fun? I'm originally talking about truckers, so you go to some shows. I try to like, hey Billy, different things.
What's going on?
Just to do something.
Take care.
What y'all doing to you? Tracy's gonna fire you. What are you?
We go play golf, stuff like that. Play golf.
I do play a lot.
We'll go play golf with it. I was just trying to think of things. Almost all of it. I was like,
Sometimes a quick make decision. Just say yes or no. Well, listen, I know you're a big supporter.
So I play.